Okay, Jai Jagannath. Chapter 16. Daiva Sura Sampada Vibhanga Yoga. The yoga of differentiating between the characteristics of the divine and the demoniac personalities. Just a very brief note about the concept of demoniac. I know that the term asura is normally commonly translated as demon. There can be some serious misunderstanding, misconception created by the fact that in the Abrahamic tradition, demon has a totally different meaning from the Sanskrit asura.
Mm.
In the Vedic sense, in the Bhagavad Gita sense, asura can be superhuman, like Rakshasa, like that. And it could also mean human being. There are also asuric human beings, as we will see later on. So there are both Sura, Daiva, and Asura among the human beings. So it's not just the Devas and the Asuras on the superhuman level, the Adityas and the Daityas. There is also a human level. So we'll start verse 1. The wonderful Lord said, fearlessness, the purification of one's existence, the constant application of knowledge, generosity, control of one's senses, engagement in sacred activities, and study of Atma Vidya, austerity and simplicity. Then we go on because the discussion, the thread keeps going. Freedom from hatred, truthfulness, freedom from anger, renunciation, peacefulness, freedom from wickedness, compassion towards all creatures, freedom from greed, kindness, modesty, and determination. Radiance, forgiveness, consistency, cleanliness, freedom from enmity, not expecting great honors. These are descendant of Bharata, are the characteristics of one who was born with a divine nature. So let's go back to verse number 1 because it is important. This is the entire point when we are making a distinction between the Vedic knowledge or Vedic religion. Where is going? Going up or down? Yeah, okay.
I think you're going down.
Yeah, I was going down. Now we are going up. Sorry for the inconvenience. So between the dharmic and adharmic religions, there is a difference about the concept of God. Okay, so it's weird. It will be weird for some people because some people usually translate dharma as religion. So they say Christian dharma, Muslim dharma, and like that, which is funny because Abrahamic religions are basically fundamentally opposed to dharma. The basic understanding of Abrahamic religions is that the word of God and the word of the priests, or the representatives of God, whatever you call them, is absolute. and it is above and beyond all notions of ethics, morals, conscience, human rights, human nature, and so on and so forth. So, whatever the Dharma is, Abrahamic religions don't care about it, because they only care about what they say that God ordered. So, if God ordered to torture and kill and whatever innocent people because they don't accept to submit to your political power, so Abrahamic followers must reject conscience, ethics, and everything, and follow the orders of their religion. You have seen that. There is a constant evidence of this. So you read the Bible, it's very clear. You read the Quran, it's very clear. So, if God is even ordering in the scriptures, what they call God is actually ordering very adharmic behaviors, because that's the law of God, which is the law above all the human laws. I think you heard about this, right?
About what?
About the so-called law of God being above and superior and absolute against all the human laws. You heard that?
Not in that way, but
well, of course, the Abrahamic propaganda must present the package in a very nice way. They cannot just go flat, confessing they are evil. They will try to present it in some more palatable way, more acceptable way, but in the end, you go and check, it's actually like that. I think you have not read the Bible. Yeah.
No.
Okay. Probably not even the Quran.
No, I have no
Okay.
interest.
Exactly. So, besides about the Bible and the Quran, there are a lot of minor scriptures that are called the Talmud for the Jews, and the Hadith for the Muslims, and the New Testament, and the elaborations of the theologians for the Christians. And on top of everything, there is plenty of evidence from history, which is, sometimes the historians have imagined that the chronicles written by Abrahamic apologists are a bit exaggerated, because they are too bad, too evil, too bloody, But in fact, that's what the Abrahamics say about themselves. Like for example, I don't know if you heard about Josephus, Flavius Josephus,
No.
which he is a very important writer, about the times of Jesus, about 2,000 years ago. And he was a Jew who became a Roman supporter. And it is a long story, but in any case, what happened is that this Flavius Josephus wrote both, two main works. One is the Bello Judaeum, which means the wars of Judea, wars in Palestine. And the other ones is the Jewish antiquities, means the old history of Palestine, of the Jews. And Josephus describes his contemporary situation in Jerusalem in the Second Temple. He lived in that period, so he was a Jew, so he was going to the temple regularly. And he wrote that in some days in this Temple of Jerusalem, about 2 million animals were killed. Some days. Not every day, but that was a pretty, normal number. So that the priests were walking into blood up to their knees. So just to get the idea of what was the situation in the Temple of Jerusalem in around 2,000 years ago, before it was destroyed by the Romans. So, if you read the Bible, especially the Old Testament, for example, we call Abrahamic, we can go and see in the Genesis where Abraham is meeting Yahweh, and Abraham asks Yahweh, what should I do to call you? Like, give me your WhatsApp number, please, So what should I do if I want to talk to you, And Yahweh answers, okay, you take a number of animals, a young cow, a lamb, whatever, it's a long list of animals. You slaughter them, you cut them to pieces on the altar, and you leave the cut pieces on the altar. And when you feel a horror of darkness coming, that will be me. So, when we talk about Daiva,
This was when they were in Egypt and they had to come out of Egypt?
No, that is much earlier.
Okay.
Actually, they never came out of it. Now, presently, all scholars, including the Jewish scholars at the Hebrew University in Jerusalem, they all agree that all these things, of the Old Testament, never happened. So there was never a guy called Abraham. There was never a guy called Moses. There were never Exodus from Egypt.
So there were no 10 Commandments?
The 10 Commandments were not given by Yahweh to Moses, if that is what you mean. The 10 Commandments are there, and also they have to be understood properly because they have been presented in a pretty specific manner that if you take them out of context, they have a totally different meaning. But historically speaking, the Bible, the Old Testament started to be written, to be put together, starting from about 400 BC, 300 BC, during the time of the Maccabees. The Maccabees were a family of, activists who decided that they had enough of the Seleucids domination, and they decided to create a religion, an imperialistic religion, to give their own group of people, ethnic people, a national identity. So they, at the time of the Maccabees, the Temple of Jerusalem had been so-called desecrated by the Seleucids. You know, the Seleucids were the rulers descending from Seleucus. And Seleucus was one of the two generals of Alexander the Great, who took up a part of Alexander's empire. The Ptolemy took the eastern part, and Seleucus took the western part. And they were both Greek. So the Seleucus and his descendants took over Palestine and installed Greek deities inside the temple, specifically a deity of Zeus. So the Maccabees organized a revolt and rebellion, so they reconsecrated the temple of Jerusalem. They cleaned it up, and during the cleaning, they declared that they had found some old writings who were, attributed to Moses himself. And that's how the Bible, the Old Testament, started. So the Judaism is actually quite recent as a religion. Just less than 500 years before the Christianity. Anyway, so but what happened is that these descriptions of the God in the Bible, as well as the descriptions and the orders of what is called God in the Quran, are not exactly divine. So let's examine the qualities of the divine character. One is fearlessness, the purification of one's existence, the constant application of knowledge. If you read the Bible, you see that knowledge is a sin. The desire for knowledge is the very reason for which Adam and Eve were kicked out of the Eden, of the paradise. So that's not exactly divine. The constant application of knowledge is divine. Generosity, control of one's senses, engagement in sacred activities, and study of Atma Vidya. Now, all the Abrahamic groups believe that we are the body, and the soul is something they don't really understand, and at most they confuse it with the prana. So you go ask any Christian, any Muslim, any Jew about the soul, they don't know what the soul is. They think it's something you have, that God gave to you. And they don't know exactly what it is. In fact, atheists have been having a ball on this point for many years, very long time, because they don't know what the soul is, because they think that they are the body. So the study of Atma Vidya is
So
exactly the
also, as
opposite.
far as I know, I think Christians believe that only humans have a soul,
Yeah,
which
yeah. But
which goes back, or I don't know what happens after death. It's not reborn, but
yeah,
animals don't even
it's
have a
very
soul.
confused. It's very confused because they also believe in the last day when the people will come back to life. But the bodies will come back to life. Because you are the body, you will come back to life as a body, but it will be a perfect body. Which we know it's an oxymoron, because if it is a body, a material body, it's not going to be perfect at all. But they say, okay, it's eternal, immortal, perfect, like that. But still, it's a body. It's a material body. It's resurrected from the dead. Now, that's not reincarnation, because they reject the idea of reincarnation. And it's not a siddha deha, because you have not done anything to develop a spiritual consciousness. They think that the soul, when you die, the soul is either going to heaven or going to hell. But that's not you. But we cannot understand why, because it's not you. You will be resurrected only at the end of days. We don't understand why it's not you, but still you're suffering. Because your soul is in hell, and how do you suffer if you're not the soul? So it's very confused. The idea is that, originally, in the original Abrahamic ideology, there was no idea of soul at all. In fact, in the Bible, there is no such thing as a soul. Even God is mortal. The gods are mortal. And that's not even monotheism, because there are lots of quotes from the Old Testament where it is clearly said that there are many gods. The father of Yahweh was called Elion, and he had something like 60 sons. So he assigned each son of the sons, one nation, one tribe. So Yahweh was assigned to the descendants of Abraham, while the descendants of Abraham's brother Moab were assigned to another Elohim called Chemosh. And there are some passages in the Old Testament where, for example, once one king from the Israel tribe wanted some oracle, so he sent to the Moabite neighbors to ask for the oracle of Chemosh. So, and Yahweh got angry. That Chemosh is the god of the Moabites. You should ask for the oracle from me, because I am the god of your tribe. So, there's a lot of things that we can learn from the actual study of the Bible. If anyone is interested, I have lots of links on very interesting lectures from top-level scholars, not like ancient alien people, but actual scholars of the Bible. For example, Bart Ehrman, who's teaching Bible study at the University of North Carolina, and he wrote a bunch of books, and he's doing lectures and interviews and everything, a lot, non-stop. He had podcasts, he makes courses online and stuff. So we need to understand what is the difference between divine and Deva and asura. So we have all these verses here that make very clear what is the nature of the devas. We have in Vedic theology, in Hindu theology, we have a distinction between Param Brahman, that is Ishvara, Bhagavan, like that. Then we have the avatars of Ishvara, Bhagavan. And then we have the devas who are in charge of the material manifestation. But all of these are divya, are divine. So the deva are all devas. Vishnu is also called Deva. Shiva is also called Deva. And so on. Until here it's all clear. You have any questions, any objections?
Yeah, it's
No.
good.
Okay. So we go on. We read the first verse, and slowly we're going down, so I don't make a mess. And we have this second verse. Freedom from hatred. Oh, this is interesting because Krishna in Gita also says, I do not hate anyone and I do not favor anyone. So there is no such a thing as a chosen people. So freedom from hatred. God doesn't hate anyone, Truthfulness. This is interesting because all Abrahamic religions have concepts such as takia, kol nidre, pious fraud. Even Plato had this idea, that it is good to tell, false things to the people. Propaganda, the idea of propaganda. Propaganda is a Latin word created by the Church of Rome, where the people were speaking Latin. So the complete expression is propaganda fidei, which means that which should be propagated about religion, which means a particular presentation that doesn't need to be true, but it just has to be convenient for the church. So we see the truthfulness idea is not really very clear. Freedom from anger. We see the God of the Bible that is not happy because the sons of God were, marrying the daughters of human beings, daughters of men. So he gets so angry that he sends such a flood, the great flood, and kills everyone. Women, children, animals, whatever. And only Noah and his immediate family, plus a number of animals that were with him on the boat, they are the only ones who survive. God is, killing everybody else like that because he was not happy. And, the same thing in the Exodus when Yahweh, we can say God of the Bible, wants to convince the Pharaoh to let the Jews go, he kills all the firstborn children of Egypt. And only the Jews are spared because they have killed a lamb from their house.
Yeah, yeah, I saw that story. That's the
Yeah,
one I was talking about.
yeah,
Yeah, so they put the blood on certain homes and then
yeah,
the
on their own home so that God would not kill the children in that home. You see,
hmm,
this is a freedom from hatred and freedom from anger. I don't think that's exactly applicable. Anyway,
hmm,
renunciation, peacefulness, freedom from wickedness, ooh, compassion towards all creatures, freedom from greed, kindness, modesty, and determination. Determination in the sense that you have the courage to keep doing the right thing, not bad determination. Radiance, forgiveness, consistency, cleanliness means purity, cleanliness. Freedom from enmity, not expecting great honors means God doesn't want to be worshipped, doesn't need to be worshipped, doesn't care if we worship or not. It's not God's problem. If we worship God, we get the benefit of focusing our meditation on God, so we develop a similar type of consciousness, divine consciousness. But God doesn't care about being worshipped. Okay. So this also applies to human beings and superhuman beings. Okay. So this is the divine nature. Then we go to the asuric nature. Verse 4. Osana Prita, the characteristics of those born of asuric nature are hypocrisy, impudence, conceit, rage, rudeness, and of course, ignorance. So, ajnanam, lack of knowledge, ignorance. Not lack of knowledge because they don't know things, but because they don't care about knowing things. They don't give a gober about knowledge, because they think they know everything. So, no need to check. Okay. The divine characteristics lead to complete liberation, while the asuric characteristics cause complete bondage. Do not worry, O son of Pandu. You were born with divine qualities. In my commentary, I am also recalling the Daiva sampada, looking very similar to the characteristics of knowledge, jnana, listed by Krishna in verses from 13:8 to 13:12, which are the same. So knowledge is synonymous with divine, and we know that Mahavidya, the Chit Shakti, is knowledge, the personification of knowledge. That is what gives divinity to Ishvara, because Ishvara without Shakti is non-manifested. It doesn't exist. Okay. So, let's go on. And verse 6. In this world, there are two types of created beings, the divine and the demoniac, the Daiva and the asura. I have explained about the divine creation. O son of Prita, listen to me. I will now describe elaborately the characteristics of the asuras. So, on top of the description that has been given already in this verse here, verse 4, which are hypocrisy, impudence, conceit, rage, rudeness, and ignorance, we also have a more elaborate description from verse here in Genesis. We have specifically the reference, chapter 15, verses 9 to 12, verses in chapter 22, verses 1 and 2, and so on. So it's pretty different from Bhagavan in Hinduism and in the Vedic tradition, Vedic knowledge. Okay, so verse 7 of chapter 16. Asuras do not have correct knowledge about engagement in duties and renunciation. They have no purity, nor proper behavior, nor truthfulness. Pravrittim cha nivrittim cha jana na vidura asura. Na socham na pichacharo, na satyam teshu vidyate. There is no satyam, which is interesting. Then we go. 8. They say that the universe is false and temporary, and there is no God and no creation based on cause and effect. For them, the only reason for the existence of the world is mere sense gratification. So, when we say Anishwaram, Anishwaram means without God, but in a sense of actual transcendent God, because some people may think, may treat Hitler as God, for example. They say, the Führer, der Führer, the leader, the chief, the model, or they may think that some other being is God, and they say that that being is most powerful, but that is not the actual idea of God, because it's not a transcendental God. It's not. God is transcendent. So we see a difference here, like in the mainstream culture, the general idea of God is anything that seems to be more powerful than the ordinary being. So we have, we have, for example, in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is saying that some people worship the Devas, some people worship the asuras, the rakshasas and the yakshas. Yanti Deva Vratadevan, Pitrin Yanti Pitri Vrataha. The list goes from the Devas to the Pitris, from the Bhutas and Pretas, and from the Yakshasas and the Rakshas. There is another verse in the next chapter that is also describing the divisions of faith, where it says that those who are in Sattva worship the Devas. Those humans who are in Rajas, who are influenced by Rajas, worship the Rakshasas and the Yakshas and the Asuras. And those who are in Tamas, they worship ghosts and ordinary beings. So, for many people, God is anything that someone is worshipping.
Right.
So, that means that it's not because you call someone or something God, it means that's really God. So the asuras, they don't believe there is actually a God which is omnipresent, transcendent, omnipresent, omniscient,
So
omnipotent. Yeah,
even those people who do not worship Bhagwan
yeah,
or believe in Bhagwan, Bhagwan is still present in them, right? So
yeah.
there is still Bhagwan's influence in their life, regardless of who they worship.
No, I lost you. Come again.
So Bhagwan's influence is still in the life of everybody who, even if they don't worship Bhagwan or believe in Bhagwan.
Uh, okay. It depends on what you mean by influence.
So, I
Yeah.
mean, it could be anything. Like,
Maya.
Gita chapter 7, verse 21 is yo yo yam yam tanam tanum bhakta
Okay. Wait. Let me check the actual
as
verse.
whatever,
Yeah, because
whatsoever
sometimes.
any
Ah,
devotee
okay.
desires.
Yeah, of course. But then he's talking about the devas, not the asuras. Okay, 1 minute. Gita 7:23,
21.
21. Okay.
Even
Okay.
if they are worshipping evil,
No. Yo yam tanum bhakta. Yo yam tanum bhakta. Shraddhayarchitum ichchati. Tasya chanam shraddham tameva vidhadamyaham.
so for example, right,
Yeah,
there are people who follow some guru, and
yeah.
this to me means that whoever you choose to follow, I will make your faith in that more firm.
Ah, okay. Uh, we have two
If we
energies here.
if we
We have
look
two
at
Shaktis.
if we look at the omniscient nature of
Yeah,
Bhagwan,
yeah,
then even the bad actions cannot
yeah. Of course,
happen
of course, of course.
without the
But
force.
why is God strengthening our faith towards something that is actually damaging for us? Why? Because we need to
So
learn.
God is not
Yeah,
God. I mean, it is just a function of, you know,
Maya.
the God element. That's how it works. It's just there.
No. That's God is everything. God is
Yeah.
everywhere, omnipresent.
Yeah. Yeah.
But there is a difference between Deva and Asura. You don't get the same result.
You don't get the same result.
Yeah,
Absolutely not.
yeah.
But the underlying force of all existence is Bhagwan,
Of course.
whether they believe
Yeah,
it or not.
of course.
So even if they're choosing to believe something evil or whatever,
Yes,
their actions are fueled by the same energy of Bhagwan, you
of
know?
course. But the same energy of Bhagavan has two shapes. As I was saying, we have Yoga Maya and Mahamaya.
Yeah.
So, people who choose to worship asuric forms, they're controlled by Mahamaya, not by Yoga Maya.
Right, but even they cannot, nothing can really happen
No, well,
without.
nothing can really happen because the Atman is never touched by anything.
Right.
But that doesn't mean that you, as your consciousness, your perception, will not suffer. So there is a difference between the Atman and the Chitta. Atman is always pure, it's part of the Brahman, it's not touched by anything. But the Chitta is touched by everything, it is experienced.
So is Chitta The same as conscience?
Yeah, chitta means consciousness. Chaitya, chitta.
Consciousness or conscience?
No, conscience is the actual, the actual explanation in the Vedic system, Vedic knowledge of conscience is the Paramatman. The Paramatman is the Upadrashta and what is the other definition? Anu something. Means that the Paramatma is the other bird sitting on the tree of the body, that is witnessing as Upadrashta and Anumanta, giving the permission, sanctioning, supporting, which means whatever stupid things the other bird, the Jivatma, wants to do, Paramatma is helping. Because, okay, you want to, jump from the third floor's windows. Okay, you really want to do that? Do it. You break all your bones. If you survive, you will spend months in the hospital. But, you have to learn something, so go ahead. Paramatma is not a kind of parent who does the homework for the child. Because the purpose is for the child to learn, not for the child to go to school with the homework done. The detachment from victory and defeat, gain or loss, is because the actual point of life is we need to learn. We need to become more evolved. We need to understand things better and to become responsible. If that means that we have to die and take another birth because, we wanted to do something really stupid, let it be, because nothing is lost. Only the body. What's the big deal? We get another one. The Atman is not affected. The chitta is affected because, the chitta carries on the scars and, the emotional blockages, the memories and everything. But, everything can go. At the material level, everything is temporary. It has a beginning and an end. Anityam. It's not eternal. Even the worst experiences are not eternal. Even hell is not eternal. Naraka. Naraka is a temporary condition that is very similar to a nightmare. Only we cannot wake up from the nightmare because we don't have a body to return to. But at any time when we are in Naraka, in the nightmare, we can actually feel, sorry that we created such suffering for ourselves, and by making other innocent beings suffer. So we come to the point when the Paramatma is suggesting, why don't you make an effort to fix this situation? You can fix the situation. At that moment, at that very moment, we get out of Naraka. And we are given the opportunity to take a new birth, in which we can fix the mess we made in the previous birth. But, Paramatma is always reinforcing our faith, until we learn. I made the example of the homework, but the same thing can be said about all experiences. We want to do something stupid. If we are not allowed to do what we want, that desire will keep growing in our mind. and it will become the center of our lives, of our life. For example, sometimes, I don't know, someone wants to take drugs. A child wants to try some drugs. Okay? So, if the parent is just saying, no, 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 you cannot do it, you will not do it, I forbid it, blah, 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 the idea will remain in the mind of the child. It will become a myth. It will become an idea and, grow beyond even reasonable dimensions. So as soon as a child will have the opportunity, he will try the drug and he will make a mess. Or let's say that the child wants to play with matches, okay, which is, more easier to understand. So the child wants to play with matches. Okay, what will an intelligent parent do? No, no, you cannot play with matches. I will hide the matches. You cannot touch the matches, blah, blah, blah. What will happen? That as soon as the parent goes out of the room, the child will find a way to get the matches and play with the matches and, burn the whole house down. So, it's better that the parents say, okay, Upadrashta and Anumanta, like the Paramatma is doing. Okay, I see, you want to play with the matches. Okay, so I'll help you. Okay, let's take the matches. Here we have some candle. Light the match, light the candle. Then now, oh, nice, the candle. Okay, put your hand over the candle and see what you feel. Yeah, and the stupid child does that because that's what he wanted to do in the first place. He has to learn. So he puts his hand over the candle and he feels the burning. And he realizes that matches are dangerous. Fire is dangerous. You see the logic, why Paramatma is Upadrashta and Anumanta. Paramatma is helping us to learn. It's like you go to school when you have these, mathematics problems, that someone has a number of mangoes and, whatever they do with them, they will give some to this, some to that, and, whatever. The problem has nothing to do with real mangoes because there are no real mangoes anyway. You just have to learn what is the meaning of addition, adding, subtracting, and that's the point. There is no Mary who has 50 mangoes. It's a totally, irrelevant character, and the number of mangoes is also irrelevant. But you need to learn what is, what is the meaning of adding and subtracting numbers. I don't know. Is that clear?
Yeah.
So when someone wants to worship, usually you will not find even a single verse in any Shastra saying that you should worship asuras.
No, I'm not saying it means that you should do something bad. That is very clear. The prescription of the Shastra is very clear.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is that the causal energy for behind anything is the energy of God, Bhagwan.
Of course. But again, the energy is called Yoga Bhava and Mahamaya.
Right.
So Mahamaya is painful.
Yeah.
and is meant to teach you with the hard way.
But that because of that is why I was saying is that if somebody focuses their energy on something other than Bhagwan, they're still going to achieve greatness in that, whatever that means.
Maybe not.
Not necessarily a good outcome, maybe bad
Yeah,
outcome,
okay,
but
but not
they
particularly,
can,
not even greatness, you know.
meaning like,
They're going to
you
get
call it
something. Yeah, they're
proficiency,
going to
or
get something, that's for sure.
yeah, they're going to get proficiency in whatever they choose to do, because that's the way the energy is going to work. They may become, extremely powerful
Yeah, but
in dark, in dark,
that's
you know,
temporary.
yeah, everything is temporary. Even
Well,
the siddhis
no,
are,
no.
even
I
the
mean,
good siddhis are temporary.
everything material is temporary, but when
Yeah,
you worship the divine, the
yeah,
devas,
that
or
absolutely
Ishvara, what you get is beyond the temporary.
right. That's
Yeah.
no argument about that. That
Mm.
that is the way to
Yeah.
transcend impermanence and cycle of life and death. But by the same token, and everything else is impermanent. But that's how, like, there are tantrics, there are bad, vamchari, like people
Well,
who get siddhis, they're dark siddhis, but the sadhana can work both ways. They can do,
it's not the sadhana, it's the worship they give to ghosts.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
and
but
but
then it's like buying something for a ghost and you have to pay it. Because Krishna
yeah,
says, Bhutanti yanti bhuteja. Those who
yeah,
worship the ghosts go to the ghosts.
yeah, right,
Which is,
right.
it's,
But all
yeah.
that is still in the purview of Bhagwan. Like everything falls under
Yeah,
Bhagwan.
of course, of course, of course. But it is also said that, I think it's Ishopanishad. One result is when you worship the Sat, and a different result is when you worship
Yeah,
Asat.
yeah, no, and
Uh,
Bhagwan is indifferent either way.
yeah,
He's not
because, Bhagavan is
interfering.
transcendental. Bhagavan is
Mhm,
transcendental to Sat and Asat. So,
mhm,
the Atman is also transcendental to Sat and Asat. But,
mhm.
while Sat will purify the consciousness by allowing the Atman to evolve and grow and manifest its potential, Asat is only going to add layers of conditioning and contamination and ignorance and everything. So there is a serious difference. Of course, it's the dirt, the layers of dirt are temporary. You can always wash them off or, scrape them off, but that would be, much more work because, we have to see, we have to consider the usefulness, the benefit for the people, for the jivas, for all the sarva bhutanam, we should work to benefit all the beings. So we have to encourage all beings to engage in a divine life. Of course, God is allowing everyone to do whatever they want, but God is also telling people, giving good instruction to people about how to work for, their own betterment. It's not that God says, okay, whatever you do is the same. Go ahead and do whatever. There is no verse in Shastra says that. You understand? So
Mhm.
the strengthening the faith is just to bring the conditioned soul to actually make the experience and learn something. and learn what? That it was stupid. So next time, is not going to do it again. It's not that Bhagavan is strengthening the faith and determination, of those who want to do stupid things, because anyway, they will get a good result. No. Bhagavan is strengthening the faith and determination to do the stupid things so that we learn they're stupid things.
Right.
I don't know. I see. I hope. I mean, it's quite clear for me. It's. I think it's pretty basic.
Yeah.
In my view, I don't know. Maybe I'm missing something.
No, I think we're saying the same thing.
Yeah.
A little different.
Yeah. But I'm what to say, very concerned about making things clear.
Yeah.
Because some people could misunderstand.
Yeah, got it. No, I'm not misunderstanding.
You don't misunderstand. Okay. Then I'm happy.
Yeah, I'm good.
We can move on. Okay.
Yeah. So we should stop now.
Okay, sure, no problem. No problem.
Talk next week.
Okay. So yeah, I'll stop here, and it's verse 9. Okay.
9.
So